Hey guys, Corey here with 3D Arms, your favorite food review YouTube channel. Because that's what we do here. So today, we're bringing you a delicious beverage straight from the halls of Montezuma themselves. That's right, Mexico. You're only going to need 3 things. A glass, preferably clean, some delicious mango nectar, or liquid gold as I call it. Aztec gold? Maybe. I don't even know. And tahini. So let's get started. First, we're going to need to wet the rim of the glass. Here's how we do it in the restaurant business. There you have it. And now, let's get a little tahini on there. It's really not sticking very well. Should have used more saliva. That's alright. Now let's add our delicious mango nectar. And it's alright if most of the tahini's down in the bottom like that. It adds to the flavor. Come on, buddy. Looks like this bottle's got benign prostatic hyperplasia. You know what I mean? You may or may not, I don't know. Look at that. Beautiful. Looks like the water fresh from the tap during, well, any time of the year, actually, in a lot of places. I am proud to be an American, where at least my tap water is safe to drink. Let's try it. That actually is pretty good. The salt and the chili powder really does actually add to the mango. So I really do recommend this. YouTube people gone yet? All right. Let's build a bomb. Hey. So instead of a bomb, how about I tell you the story of how I started developing a semi-automatic roller-ish delayed 12-gauge shotgun. And this video will be mostly on the first prototype and kind of how we got here. So about a year ago, I was thinking like, hey, it'd be super cool if someone made a semi-automatic 12-gauge shotgun. And from everything I'd heard people say, like, if you're just doing straight blowback, like, the FGC does, if you try and do a bigger cartridge, you're going to have your bolt so freaking heavy, it's ridiculous. And I've seen like 100 people say that so many times. But I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'll have my bolt be ridiculous heavy. I'll make this meme tier 12-gauge shotgun, and it'll be awesome. So I started working on it, and this went pretty well for like a month or 2-ish. I don't remember all that well, but a little while. I was working real good on it. I got my first firing prototype, which this video is about. You'll see it in just a minute. And I ran into some roadblocks, and I got lazy, and I stopped working on the project entirely for like 6 months. So most of the footage in this video is that old, 6-7 months. But before I show you that hideousest, come my child, fetch me water, we go to Olympus. It sounds like a Greek name or whatever. Hideous, that super, Before I show you the super ugly version 1 prototype, I just want to show you the version 2 prototype, which I have right here. So I'm not completely mentally disabled. Well, actually, I'm definitely somewhat. So here it is. It's beautiful. Well, maybe not conventionally attractive, but it's fairly attractive. It's not hideous. This is version 2 prototype. I'll do a video on this later. First, I'd like to show you guys the version 1 prototype. let's go to that video now. All right, y'all ready? I'm ready. I think I got it working. Oh, what's up? Also, smells like freedom. It smells like America. I guess those aren't necessarily the same thing. There's a lot of not freedom here in America. But it smells like freedom at least. It smells like what America should be. So I'm about to do the first real test fire of this bad boy. We know it can set off primers. I probably should have done more than one primer test, but it hit in the middle, so good enough for me. We know it sets off primers. Let's talk about what I think will and won't happen during this test. So I don't have a magazine yet, so there will be no cycling. Will it eject? Will it explode? Let's build a bomb. Will it do anything? Here's what I think is going to happen. The round's going to go off. I'm going to be starting with a target load, which is pretty light. I don't think it's going to go back enough to engage the ejector, which is basically the same as you would find on an FGC, but longer. Ooh, got some burps. That's what I hope. Alternatively, it might go back so hard and so fast that it just breaks the whole thing. Here's the delay mechanism. It requires 30 pounds of force to start that motion, which is kind of a lot. I hope. I have no idea, really. And then there are 3 Air 15 buffer springs in here that are partially compressed. And the bolt itself weighs about 6 pounds. So, based on my initial calculations, I thought a 9-pound bolt would be adequate on its own. But I was talking to someone who knows more than me, and they mentioned, kind of off the top of their head, it wasn't like them calculating it, but they mentioned that it would take about 12 pounds. So I calculated 9 pounds. Talking to this other guy, he said 12 pounds. Made me go, oh crap. Then I weighed my bolt, which I thought was going to be 9 pounds, and it was 6 pounds. That is why we have a delay mechanism. That is the entire reason I started trying to think of one. And came up with one. And we'll see if it works. I have no idea. Magwell is just for show. It isn't as heavy as I was worried it was going to be. I mean, it's unwieldy. But it's not that bad. Like, you can use it. I'm going to start off with some light loads. If it doesn't explode, I'm going to move up to some heavier loads, and then all the way up to buckshot and slugs. I do have some high velocity slugs. I don't know what that means. I don't know much about shotguns. This is my first shotgun. I've never owned a shotgun. There are enough things that I need to change about this already that if it breaks, it breaks. And not that big of a deal. What I'm really hoping is I'm hoping that it doesn't cycle. I'm hoping that there's not enough oomph to fully cycle the gun, because that would tell me I don't need things as heavy or as bulky as I have them. I would really like to cut back on some weight and some bulk. It would make the process so much easier if the bolt, which currently has 3 1-inch rods, 2 on top and then 1 down below holding the firing pin. If I could reduce that to 1 up top, 1 below, like the FGC bolts have, that would be amazing. It would make this thing much slimmer. It would let me do the delay mechanism in a much easier location and manner. We will see. I hope so. Do I think the ejection will work as it currently stands? No, and the reason is I saw a video that Mark Serbu put out with Royal Nunsuch, and they took a GB22 and, well, Royal Nunsuch took a GB22 and chambered it in some larger cartridge. I don't remember what it was. And so it's just blowback, which is what the FGC9 is. Well, this is kind of a modified blowback. This is kind of delayed, but regardless, it is blowback. And what happened with his is the bolt started to go back, and initially the casing went with it. But then, basically at the point where the bullet had left the barrel, the casing stopped going back, and the bolt continued going back. So the casing only came out of the barrel by maybe 1.5 inches, and I needed to come out by about 3 inches. At which point the ejector will hit it. A 2 3/4 shell, once fired, is basically 3 inches long, so I need it to come out 3 inches. I don't think it will. I think what's going to happen is the bolt's going to go back. The shell, and we'll see this on the high-speed video, the shell will go partially back and then stop. Then the bolt's just going to go however far back it ends up going. Maybe it engages the ejector, maybe it doesn't. And then the bolt's going to go back forwards and push the casing back into the barrel. That is my bet. But we will see. Ultimately, I have no idea. Super excited. It's going to be a good time. No matter what happens, this is going to be a good time. So I'm excited. Yeah. Questions, concerns, comments, you can leave them down below. If you have any suggestions for improving this, I would love to hear them. Put them in the comments. And smash that like button. Or don't, I don't care. Do whatever you want. But yeah, this should be pretty cool. I'm excited. There's a lot of changes. There are a lot of changes that need to be made. I haven't put a charging handle in this yet. It is doable by hand even with the 30-pound delay, because I can stick something in there and put it back. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. You're excited. I can tell. Come on. You know you're excited. Look in your eyes. You're excited. I'm excited. You're excited. I'm excited. We're all excited. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so I had this footage here, and I was like, yo, I need to compare with and without the delay using the same cartridge, so I can quantify how much is this delay even doing. Because, I mean, what if it's not even helping at all? What if it's just doing like nothing? Which some people said, spoiler alert, they were wrong. But I was worried. I was like, I really don't know how much it is helping. So I took the delay out and I got this footage. Test fire without the delay. And wow, it's terrible. It's just, look at that lighting. Like you can't see anything. It's the worst thing ever. And also I realized, like, because it wasn't strapped to the fence post, the fence gate actually, the gun would be allowed to move, and so I wouldn't really have a good comparison. So I went back again and got this footage. But then what happened is I was comparing that footage to the original footage, and I noticed that in the first time I shot it, which was with the delay, the gun moved back a good bit because those straps weren't very tight. And so I was like, again? So my data was just not useful at all. And I was really annoyed with that. And that's actually when I took like the 6-month break on this project. So then I finally came back to it, and I got this footage strapped down nice and tight. And so now we can compare the two. And I was thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at how far back the bolt goes in each and compare them. But what happened when I looked at these two videos, the bolt goes all the way back, at least past the ejection port, with or without the delay. And so I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what do I do with this? And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute. I can figure out the velocity by counting the frames. And so I counted how many frames from the hammer dropping to the bolt going back enough that it's no longer visible through the ejection port. And in the version without the delay, that is 4 frames. In the version with the delay, 7 frames. That's basically a 40% reduction in bolt velocity, which is like freaking phenomenal. That's awesome. I obviously don't have a whole lot of precision with this because at 120 frames a second, we're dealing with such a small number of frames. It's not like I'm counting hundreds of frames and being like super, super precise. If you know it's off by 1 frame in either direction, hugely changes the data. If each of them is 1 frame off, that can make the reduction in bolt velocity as low as 17% or as high as 63%. And it could be anywhere in that range, but it's probably most likely to be kind of more at the middle, because they're probably not off by, the majority of a frame. And so that tells us the delay works, and it works pretty well. Hits the spot. How well exactly? We don't really know. Again, we don't have precision with this, but it works. So I took that knowledge, and also I looked at the very first shot, which is bird shot, and the gun moves a good bit. And I was thinking, okay, that's basically what's going to happen when you're holding it, because your shoulder is going to move. And in that case, the bolt only went like halfway back, or definitely not enough back, which tells me the bolt is too heavy if, someone's holding it. If it's mounted, sure, that's probably fine. But if someone's holding it, their shoulder's going to go back, the bolt's not going to go back enough. And so I can actually make the bolt lighter. And at this point in the video, you have seen the version 2 prototypes. You already know it's much smaller. Oh, hey.